to session 18 of The Space Between. And we'll start off with a recap from last time, brought to us by Robert.
All right. Cherry asked Bo to follow Miss Lloyd, to which he asked for a pedicure as payment. I might have missed something there. Thought it'd help Eva repair the ship, but she and Cherry were browsing Space Bay. Didn't know what the Duma Flaci does or why 12 gauge isn't the same as 18 gauge. Cherry told me to stand there and look pretty, but Eva thought it was for her, so I took the chance to duck out. Several minutes later, I overheard something about someone getting a sugar baby on my way by, and I decided to go back to my charging bay and leave the ladies alone. Next, I knew Zeke's compad was hacked. Eva was messaging everyone on a sugar baby site, and Cherry was just trying to go on a date. Why didn't I volunteer to go with Bo? Oh, yeah, he hates bots. What's a man bot to do? Bo came back smashed, and Cherry was disgruntled with their date. Eva pestered me almost all night with sword questions and made me wonder what got into her. We met up with Sarah Lloyd first thing in the morning and rode out to a safe location so we could talk with this AI.
Was it first thing in the morning? I thought it was like in the middle of the night.
Oh, I thought it was first thing in the morning.
I might have been off about the time.
I don't
Sometimes
remember.
morning.
I seem to remember kind of asking, and you guys didn't really have a strong opinion.
I mean, that was
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, you broke up, Danielle. Well, I'll say that I also thought it was first thing in the morning, but my memory is not trusted.
I mean, my memory's not to be trusted, but I did write that in during play, so
Yeah,
I generally
that would make
just
more
that.
sense because I was also like, why'd she come grab us in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that she would be willing to go that night, but maybe you guys countered with, let's just get a night's sleep and then go the next day. So we'll go with that. And yeah. Thank you for the recap, Robert.
You're welcome.
Tonight, Avery taking notes from Zeke's perspective for this session. Before we get into it, though, let's quickly go down the line and get a quick summary of everybody's level up. Start with Avery.
So Zeke took on a whopping 2 additional health points with his level 5 adjustment, and prioritized focusing on his psychic training. Found particularly useful recently his abilities to teleport and move things with his mind. So spent more time training those, and it paid off. He is now telekinesis level 2 as well as teleportation level 2. Which
Nice.
could mean that he can, uh, move things up to like 400 kilograms, uh, which is pretty big, and teleport himself and one willing companion up to 10 kilometers. And additionally, he took, with the extra skill points he had, mind tracing from the metapsionics path as well. So really leaning in to psychic powers.
All right.
With Pete, I took the approach of he's really the team's frontliner. So he's essentially the linebacker. So because I already have the close combatant focus, my thought was that I should get the armsman focus so that he would have a chance to assist a nearby ally who he can't reach easily because he's trying to tie up a number of people at that point. It ties in pretty good. I grabbed punch so that when disarmed he's still dangerous, and banked a whole lot else. So
I can go next. Unless we're going in a specific order.
No, you're good. Go
It
ahead.
looks like the order would
I
be
heard silence.
Avery, and then Robert, and then Ethan backwards. If there was one. So, so with
Go
Well,
for
I
it,
went
just
because I
you
heard
and
silence.
yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
So with Eva, I felt that she is a person that learns from experiences, and so her experience on Demnoff gave her Survive Zero. I'm not going to spend too many skill points in every single thing that she does, but she, that was sufficient. I did end up banking a lot of points because that will allow her to boost both Fix and No straight up to 3 next level. Um, and for Focus, she is now an even better engineer and tinkerer. She can build mods that normally require pre-tech without using pre-tech, and she can technically build the highest level possible mods. Uh, even though there aren't very many that are fixed 3.
Cool.
Oh, okay. So for Bo at level 5, I wanted to get his dex up to 18 so that he could do more dexterous things. I boosted his sneak up to 2 for sniping reasons.
Mm.
And then took close combatant for the focus so that his ranged and gunslinging capabilities wouldn't get shut down by somebody coming into melee with him, and to bank some points for shoot 3 at level 6.
Sounds good. You do the sneaking, I do the punching.
All right. Let's see then. Danielle, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about yours. I know we're still deciding some stuff.
Yeah, so I do have some decisions that I need to make on which direction I take Cherry this level. Our family was sick this past week, so we didn't get a chance to actually sit down, or I say we, me and Ben, didn't get a chance to sit down, look at this, and like make plans. But I am banking skill points because then next level I will be able to get Talk 3 and Program 3, both at
Nice.
level.
Nice.
But then I'm trying to decide. Sorry. I am trying to decide whether or not I would like to take Diplomat 2 or Starfarer 2, which Ben pointed out could both be useful, unless I want to branch out and take like Specialist in Talk. So, anyway. So I'm trying to decide which direction I want to take Cherry in that. My idea on Cherry is that she's someone who has dabbled in a lot of things for most of her young life, and she wants to be taken more seriously, and so that's why she went on this journey. And I'm hoping through her character arc to see her take life more seriously. And I don't know if that means she's going to want to focus more on maybe becoming more of a journalist, and so leveling up Talk, or if that means that her piloting is going to take off. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure that we really need Starfarer 2 at this point in our journey. I think I could always take that later. May not make sense later though. But I think it makes more sense for her character arc for her to mature when it comes to her talk skill. I do also feel like she was pretty overtly designed to be the face. Um, so I do want to continue leaning into that and being good at that. Um, it is also fun because in our last campaign, Saoirse was sort of forced into the role of the face, but she was not spec for it, and she was not the character for it.
But that was also part of the fun.
That was also part of the fun. It was like,
Hmm.
you know, it makes me think of that scene in Wreck-It Ralph 2 when all the princesses are talking and then Merida opens her mouth and they're like, "What did she say?" And they're like, "We have no idea. She's from the other studio." And it's like, when is it going to be clear what she said, and when are we just going to be like, "Yeah, okay, you said something. Go you."
That was pretty
That
quick
had
for Nero.
no effect. What'd you say?
I said the latter was pretty quick for Nero.
Mhm. So, um yeah, just trying to figure out what we want to do with Cherry. I do like kind of leaning into the fact that talk is her strength. Um, so I'm trying to figure out what skills would lend themselves more to her being a fierce but mature, I guess, diplomat. I guess I don't know. I got to look at the descriptions for it and see what I think really lends itself to her character arc. So, any thoughts on that are welcome. I just not sure yet.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Very good, everybody. I will note, so this is what I get for not auditing you guys. I did message Avery. We'll need to tweak his level up a little bit. And we'll sort that out all the way at the end of the session.
Mm,
But
I feel
for
attacked.
now, oh, did you audit his level up?
I think I helped him with it.
Yeah, but it's
Oh.
okay. That doesn't read very well in the book, psychic training. So uh, I think what
Judging.
Ben's saying makes sense.
Like Ben is calling me wrong.
You may not have had all the relevant information.
Heh.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But we'll move forward. Just for now, going with teleportation 2. Okay. So you guys are riding along down the road out of the city, down the side of the mountain, and the basically the infrastructure is, pretty much that there are highways that run between the major cities and also connect to some of the smaller um, kind of mines and other sorts of outposts, and the few rural kind of communities that can be sustained in some of the harsher climate. But they're no broad sweeping interstates so much as 2-lane kind of winding highways that go, it's switchbacks and you know down into valleys and stuff like that. So yeah, not not particularly treacherous yet, but you're going off down a path that is not not a major uh, lane of not a major oh goodness, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Oh, anyway, not a lot of
Thoroughfare?
traffic goes this way. Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of another word, but it doesn't matter. I tend to get hung up on very specific words that I have in mind, but I can't get out of my mouth. Not good. Anyway, yeah, on the path less traveled a little bit. Do you guys? How are you guys taking the ride so far? Lloyd, it does tell you that it's going to be a few hours. She wants to get well outside the range of any of the kind of wireless stuff that you might be concerned about it interfacing with, and
Did we
away from
establish?
prying eyes.
Did we
Hmm?
establish what day it was?
What time of day it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's early in the morning.
Okay. Cherry has cracked open what appears to be some sort of energy drink with very bubbly font on the front and looks suspiciously very unhealthy.
I think Pete will say something about not my monkeys and
Hmm.
probably go to carving something on like a small piece of wood or something that he's got with him, or occupying himself with something else.
She would snort and she'd reach into her bag and pull out something that's wrapped in paper. And then she'd hand it to Pete and say, "Hey, pass that to Bo."
I think Pete would take a peek in there. Does he want to pass that to Bo?
It's a breakfast sandwich with sausage.
Well, then he'll just pass it.
Oh, Cherry, I love you. He's working on his hangover cure, which is alternating sips between a cup of coffee, a bottle of like electrolyte drink, and a thing of raw eggs.
Ugh.
The other thing Cherry got from the convenience store were packages of muffins that said they were high in protein that she hands to Eva. And then she tosses a large package of chocolate covered donuts to Zeke.
He fumbles.
I think Eva just starts eating hers.
And then she pulls out a protein bar and tosses it into Sarah Lloyd's lap.
She looks a little startled, but thanks you and tears it open, starts eating.
Carrie's going to finish her first energy drink, and then she's going to reach back into her black plastic bag and pull out a second energy drink and crack it open. But she seems to be taking her time with this one. Does anybody else have anything they want to do on the trip?
Not particularly.
Nah.
We're all just munching.
Guessing Bo's coming back to himself. He was trying to have the taser arrows ready before we did anything with the robot.
Mm.
He's figuring that's the key to dealing with them.
Okay.
I think
Is it getting moved? to listen
sorry.
to?
Go ahead, Avery.
Space tunes.
Is he saying words?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Huh.
He was
Space
asking if there
tunes.
were any if there was any music to listen to, like space tunes.
Oh.
Like Spacify.
Spacify.
Spacify it is.
More of the singing robots from Dimmed Off.
I think Eva
Spacify
is
is really good.
looking like she's in thought. She's probably got a pencil, even though she doesn't have any paper or her, well, not a pencil, but like one of those styluses in her hand, even though her tablet's not out, and she's just kind of flicking it back and forth from the end. And she suddenly looks over at Pete and asks him a sword-related question.
Ben.
Hmm.
First, Pete, are you responding to the sword related question with anything other than sword related answer?
I think Pete's facial expression will be like one eyebrow cocked while he's answering the question, but like he's not sure if he should ask or just ignore it at the moment.
Can
Let's
you
say
elaborate on what Pete's eyebrows look like?
I have a variety of GIFs for reference if necessary.
That's true. GIFs are a totally acceptable way to answer that. I'm just wondering, does he have like LED display?
Yeah, he's got like little LED
Where his
display
eyes
lights.
are, and like
Yeah.
are his eyes and his eyebrows LED display? Or is it
Yeah,
like
his
a
eyes and his
mechanical
eyebrows are like
eyebrow?
LED display.
Okay. So not a mechanical eyebrow. Okay, cool.
They're not like animated, but they're like able to express expressions.
Express expressions. Good. That is good.
Thanks.
You can make little eyebrow emojis.
I think this
Basically.
I would love. Cherry will be interested in helping him download a variety of GIFs at a later date.
Oh no.
I want like a raised eyebrow that's made entirely of the like hand to chin emoji.
Yeah, there we go.
For your reference, Robert, I think this question is probably a little bit more personal, less about the blade itself and more about how Pete uses it. Let's say it's a complex math question about how much he balances the weight in his grip, and if this certain amount of weight running along the end with some complex calculation is too much for his liking.
I think he would just kind of like be quiet for a moment trying to figure it out and be like, I don't think about it in the math terms you do. What's going on?
No. Why don't you think about it? Everything is math, Pete.
Because it's a feeling, Eva. Balance
Feelings
is a
can be
feel.
calculated, Pete.
Okay.
Mm,
I don't know what they are.
I want it to be perfect.
What to be perfect?
Okay, you cornered me. I wasn't going to tell you, but I'm making you a sword.
You what?
I'm making you a sword. Looks very happy with
Thank you.
herself right now.
Why?
I thought you would like it.
Well, of course I would like it. Thank you.
And so the rest of the journey is probably filled with Eva explaining the technical details of how to make a sword sharper than sharp. There's your music.
Cherry would at some point pulled out what appears to be some sort of earbud and slipped it in. I almost said earpod, lol. Would Sarah Lloyd have any questions for them on the journey, Ben?
No, she actually seems pretty content to just focus on the road and the relative lack of features and complete lack of traffic or landmarks, and just cruise.
All right. Cherry would also make it a point to actually record some of the landscape for herself, but she's just killing time.
Is the living easy?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, is the living easy?
Oh. Yeah, man.
I may be a little bit silly tonight.
That's okay. A little silly inside. Okay. Well, about an hour and a half down the road, the atmosphere has gotten just a bit more yellow tinted, and you come to a switchback where Sarah slows down and stops, pulling off to the side, and calls back to get everyone's attention. All right, here's where we're going off the road. There's no settlement in this valley, so we should be clear. Shouldn't get interrupted, and signal won't travel very far. Anything else around, so yeah, buckle up. Might get a little bumpy. And she takes you off road.
All right. Cherry would have been mid buckle when that turn happens. And upon hitting the first bump, would have made a quite indelicate sound of protest as her energy drink sloshes.
She would immediately slow down and come to a stop, looking over at Cherry. Sorry, I thought you were buckled. You good?
Cherry is adjusting her glasses and looking for something to wipe her hair, the energy drink out of her hair with, and sees a jacket down by her feet that she doesn't recognize, but it's better than nothing, so she grabs it and starts dabbing at her hair.
Sarah starts to throw a hand out in protest, and then just kind of gives up as Cherry already dabs at her hair. Just seems to
What?
decide to leave it to herself. Oh, well, I was gonna. She reaches down and like opens the center console basically, and there's there's like a roll of paper towels in there.
Cherry's face begins to turn red, and she looks at the jacket, which she does notice on the tag is written SL. And feels a sense of embarrassment. She accepts the paper towel and quietly says thank you as she very carefully folds the jacket and puts it back down.
Miss Lloyd gives a shrug and a non-committal grunt.
Non-committal grunt in character.
Mm-hmm.
That adds up.
And she glances, she leans over to look back through the little the little doorway that leads to the kind of RV part of the vehicle, trying to get a verbal confirmation that everybody's actually buckled in this time.
I'm pretty sure Eva's buckled in and also completely not paying attention. She is engrossed in her data slab. Every now and
Alright.
then, relaying something that she finds to be an interesting factoid.
All right. Then everybody else is good. If everybody else looks good to go, then Sarah's gonna lean back into her seat, um, adjust herself a little bit, and check all the mirrors and put her back in gear. Glad I heard the sound through somebody's mic because I don't always pay attention to that Roll20 thing. All right, so the trek off road continues. It's it's fairly forested, but there's enough room to get around the vehicle. A lot of the trees are older, so there's more space between them. Sarah runs
Space
over lots
between,
of.
you say?
Mm-hmm. She runs over a lot of undergrowth,
Name of the movie.
including some small saplings here and there. Oh, I will never not laugh at references to Movie Guy. Um, or I don't know if that's Director Guy, but anyway. Okay. Let's see with a quick okay. Very good. It's not the smoothest ride, but despite some close calls that might make some feel like the vehicle's about to hit a tree, uh, you make it uneventfully about another hour off the beaten path, and seemingly at random, Miss Lloyd slows down and pulls it into park with trees all around, and you notice there's a small stream up ahead that's winding through the valley, and She pipes up. Well, this ought to be far off enough. Let's file out, get set up. Let's do this.
Pete'll help assemble the cage.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Eve is definitely helping too.
So Sloyd directs you to some of the cargo compartments under the kind of under the sides of the vehicle, and there are several large, some of them quite long cases that look. I mean, this is they look uh, pretty nice, pretty uh, like this is not just a Walmart kit or something that's been well used. This looks like it's in basically mint condition and looks very professional, um, maybe even industrial. And there is an instruction booklet for assembling the whole thing that gets pretty technical in some places. The diagrams are not particularly well drawn. So might take a bit of bit of work. Would somebody be able to make a no check for
Somebody would be able to
deciphering?
make a no check.
It's Bo.
Right.
If there's, of course, if there's any complaining about the diagram from Ms. Lloyd, is she the one that's kind of telling us that how complex and difficult the diagrams are, or are we just getting straight into it?
Who all was it that said they were getting to work helping set it up?
Pete's helping.
Eva.
Okay, Pete and Eva.
Bo scoping good spots for security.
Okay. Yeah, no, I would say that Eva's probably the one that would naturally have grabbed the
Okay.
instruction manual to begin with, and
I didn't
would
know if
find it wanting.
if Sarah was like trying to take charge of its construction or anything.
No, she seems to trust you to get it started anyway. She's looking around. She's also getting into the vehicle and getting out some of her own equipment, helping carry out, and looks like she's unloading a little bit of equipment, getting some things set up of her own.
Okay. Yeah. Eva just kind of works through the instructions, and if it's just her and Pete setting it up, then they just they've worked together. You only just rolled a no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knows.
All right. Casual net 12. All right. Yeah. So,
Oh, keep it cash.
so she's able to help it along quite well. Direct Pete which parts to fix together and correctly. She notices that in a couple of the diagrams, certain components seem to have been like flipped.
Oh no.
Like, and some places the little holes aren't drawn quite to scale to where they actually are. So, but she's able to figure out easily enough which parts are intended to be referenced, and has no trouble at all getting this thing constructed. And uh, it looks like by the end of it, it's going to be uh, about uh, roughly a 2 meter cubed enclosure. that's isn't going to be solid. It's got plenty of it's more of a cage, and it'll have up to a type B power cell, or actually two of them, and it'll be ready to fire up pretty soon. She thinks it'll take about 30 minutes to get it up.
All right.
Go pick that up at the old AI Imprisonment Emporium.
Is he asking Sarah that?
Mm-hmm.
Cherry would just look at Bo.
She gives a low laugh. No, but it is it's quite a valuable piece of equipment, so do be careful with it. It's not mine. I borrowed it from a friend, someone who's interested in what we might find out.
But that fella's a real high roller. Drives a real fancy car.
You would guess correctly.
That's because earlier I was going to be like, oh, we have a car ride to talk about what Sarah Lloyd was up to last session. But then I was like, Sarah Lloyd's in that car. No.
Oh man. Yeah, I can just imagine him like, well, when Sarah Lloyd turns to look somewhere else, like him giving a really significant like eyebrow raise to Eva or Cherry when after he mentioned the fancy car.
Oh yeah, and Eve is just ignoring him. Or if he does catch her attention, the response would have been, "What? Cherry, do you have something else to feed Bo?"
I'm regretting feeding him as soon as I did. He sobered up too quickly.
Hey, I'm in my prime. Figured out that hangover cure years ago.
It's just downhill from here.
This is the rocket ship that only goes to the top, baby.
Pulls
Okay.
out a
And
bag of
sword.
jerky and shakes it at him. Would you like one of these? Because if you shut your mouth, I will give you one.
Heck, I shake and roll over too.
She goes, "Here, boy," and throws it past him.
He will shoot it out of the air.
What's he shooting it out of the air with?
Black Betty, his laser pistol.
Okay.
Make a shoot roll, sir. Come on.
Yeah, let's have let's have a shoot skill check.
I thought
Please
all
don't
this was
be bad.
happening in the car ride.
No,
I thought this was after we got there.
definitely after we did.
Okay.
And blam! Right through the roof of our van.
Right. Through the roof of the rental van. So this was a bag of what's again?
It was just cheap gas station jerky, but it was meat.
Oh, I thought it was the single piece, not the whole bag.
No, she threw
I
the
guess
whole.
regardless, he's probably still shooting.
All right, so with with a flash of energy, the bag of jerky is evaporated and bits of jerky go flying a bit. Sarah startles and she claps a hand on her gun, but then realizes what happened. Just sighs and shakes her head.
Oh, I thought you were just going to throw a piece. Now that's all the jerky gone.
Yeah, most dogs know how to bite the hand that feeds them, but I guess if you wanted laser practice, there you go.
There was much for house training.
Harry starts moving over in that direction, slowly saying in a little monotone, I can help clean up.
You mean Harry?
Carrie, yeah.
Okay.
Because she was sitting off to the side, having already unloaded all the equipment that Sloyd was needing, which incidentally she's fiddling with on a little fold-out table, and she was about to get Cherry's attention and try to show her what she's working with there, since Cherry was the one wanting to basically interface with the AI and see what she could learn about it.
Oh,
So while I guess while Carrie and Bo are looking around for the pieces of jerky, because most of them are intact. They just got scattered. Uh, and I guess Eva and Pete are working on the Faraday cage device.
Yeah, I imagine if I can jump in here that Eva's lack of reaction might be a little bit alarming. Pete's probably already familiar with it, but that was laser fire, and Eva's just continuing to ramble on and work. She did start. She wasn't completely oblivious. She jumped. It startled her, but she just kept going.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make that character point. Not have a good sense of danger.
I don't know.
Yeah, Ms. Lloyd doesn't seem to register. She's seeming fairly focused herself.
Are we detailing how our characters reacted to hearing gunfire? Because
If you want,
Cherry
only if you want to.
Cherry would have been surprised and then simultaneously not surprised that Bo had decided to shoot it. She is still not comfortable around guns and just tries to put as much distance between herself and Bo as possible.
Okay. Fortunately, she has something technical to focus on.
Yep.
oh yeah. Did Bo need to do anything to scope out the area?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you had mentioned something about that in passing. I didn't follow up anything with you. Hmm. So what was he looking for? Like some kind of place to set up just to keep a watch on everything and the surroundings.
Yeah, I guess good vantage points to keep an eye on.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
the phylactery most of all, but then I guess also the surrounding area. That if it's as valuable as they're saying, there
Okay.
might be folks who try to follow after them.
Give me a survive check with wisdom.
Oh no, I was hoping it'd be noticed.
Okay.
I might survive.
Pretty good roll with
Hey.
no modifiers whatsoever. Um, um, yeah, I'd say he finds a decent sized tree that's got easily climbable branches and a spot where he can, without with no trouble to him, he can set up a little perch where he can relax a bit and have a good vantage on the little area around the ATV that where the cage and the other machinery is being set up, and also see out past in the direction they'd come from the road and all that good stuff.
The shimmy up a shell.
Mm-hmm.
I should make sure what I get it out with right now. Oh no, we didn't get to buy the sniper rifle.
Um,
If we need it, there's someone who could have sensed that need.
Put in a mail order for a sniper rifle.
Zeke opens his backpack. Oh, I forgot we bought this while we were on the station back a while.
I knew this pipe bomb would come in handy.
um, yeah, we did forget to have you guys make a little trip to the station. I mean, I think. Let's see. I would say that would be a valid use of that ability if you guys want to do that. It doesn't. There's no like time limit on the sense the need. How recently you would have needed to acquire the item, as long as it's plausible that you would still have it.
Did we sense the need for a store run if it's relevant? Or is it already relevant?
Uh, I didn't quite catch your question.
Is that necessary at right now?
So I think Ethan was just saying he had wanted to buy a sniper rifle for Bo to have, and somebody had mentioned the idea of Zeke using Sense the Need for it. I was just saying that Zeke could use that, and I wouldn't argue against it, but that is obviously up to you if Zeke is
Are
if
you
Zeke would sense
implying
that
that we could
need.
use it to like retroactively do a shopping run
No,
or
not a whole shopping run, but just
For one,
that you would have brought along any one object that you could have reasonably acquired. Because you guys have been to that space station before, and you guys had extra money at the time. So yeah, it's basically a retcon
yeah,
power
it's
that
an
is
effort for the day. I mean, if we feel like it's worth it, yeah.
okay. What do you think, Ethan?
I guess that would help for, if something does happen.
I do kind of feel like, oh, I don't know. I was just gonna ask that, do we need to kind of save that for, when we interact with the AI?
Hmm.
Yeah, saving it for other things. And I'm probably good with the arrows. And I think we got void carbines brought, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a total of 4 effort, so he can do a lot of things with that potentially.
Yeah, and that should all be uncommitted right now. I don't think you've done anything yet for the day. All right. Well, sounds like we'll hold off for now. If something does happen, can always reach into his backpack and say, "Hey, Bo, catch!" Toss him a sniper rifle. Um, all right. Hmm, okay. Yeah, if I were smart, I probably would have had you guys write up a list of questions that you had for the AI ahead of time, but I was not smart. So, yeah, we'll be, I've got, I'll just give kind of a disclaimer that I've got some ideas in mind here, but it is plausible that I may be caught off guard or thrown for a loop a little bit. So I'll try to be as quick on my feet as I can be, but do bear with me a little bit.
There will be no bears. Yeah. On completion, Eva steps back. It's ready. And looks expectantly over at Sarah, Pete, and Cherry.
Well, Pete
Pairing
will step back because everybody was worried about him getting hacked.
Oh, right, he wasn't going to be inside of it, inside
Yep,
of this
he's gonna be
cage.
outside.
Yeah, and so Ms. Lloyd would have shown Cherry that uh, the couple of devices she's got set up on this table outside the cage. One of them is for monitoring transmissions and emissions in the vicinity. Has a decent little kilometer range, and you can. So she's going to. I guess she'll work out with you who's gonna stand where and do what. But she was thinking that you'd want to you know before doing much with the AI, you'd want to try to hook it up to the the interface you've got ready for it. That's intended to give it a way to communicate with you guys, and then kind of initially verify, and then have somebody continue to monitor the fact that no transmissions or anything are escaping the cage.
Yeah, and Eva can be outside monitoring.
Okay. Yeah, and it's with a brief explanation of how to operate it, it's very user friendly. So there's not gonna be any trouble running that thing.
She's explaining something to Eva lets her, but the expression on her face is just like, this is cute.
Has Eva worked with a machine like this before?
Whether she has or not, that's still what's happening.
Alrighty. Well, she doesn't seem to pick up on that, and finishes the brief explanation, and then goes goes over towards the cage and calls everyone to gather round, and basically just explains that like for everyone to go ahead and just as a safety precaution turn off their comm pads and any other devices they might have on hand, except for ones that they're planning to use to try to interact with the AI. and that Eva's going to be keeping track, and will call out if any uh, any sort of signal emanates from the cage, and otherwise just to be on your guard.
Yeah. Yeah. Ava, of course, sets her electronics off.
Okay.
Well, that's why Pete's outside. He is the electronics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I may have misheard. Was she only saying that to anybody that's inside the cage? Or was she suggesting that as a precaution to everyone outside
No,
also?
to everybody, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I heard you right then.
Hmm.
Yeah, can't exactly turn Pete off, but we'll monitor
No,
him.
but Pete has, you know, I'd say Pete has some kind of like internal components or settings that he can disable just to limit that, and in the event of something happening to him, would at least delay the ability his ability to basically reactivate that stuff and start transmitting.
Okay, well, he would have like worked with Eva to shut that stuff down, so he's not gonna transmit or not gonna be as receptive to transmissions either.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Uh, then I think we're just about ready. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so Lloyd will produce the gemstone, which you can all tell even in the outdoor light has its own faint glow coming within. She holds it in her two hands and goes into the cage. And Cherry, you can come along with
Yeah,
her
take a deep
days.
breath and then follow in.
Alrighty. And let's see. I think we've got a good idea of everybody. What's Zeke doing and where's he at?
I feel like he'd be outside of the cage.
Okay. And yeah, Sarah will gesture to Eva to activate the cage. And as she does so, it powers up with a soft hum, and those inside the cage, for those inside, it's a slightly louder, constant kind of electric hum, and you can all make out just the faint color of some sort of energy uh, filling the spaces between the bars of the cage, just just barely visible in the light. And Eva is able to quickly adjust the kind of the machine itself. Kind of it gives off just a faint bit of energy that she can adjust for and filter out. And Lloyd, seeing Eva's confirmation, tells Cherry, "Okay, I think we're ready to do this. Whenever you're ready." She sets the gemstone down in the center of the cage and just takes a step back.
Right. Um, Cherry would have prepared some basic audio equipment that the AI could be able to take advantage of. And she had hoped to set that up while the cage was being set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. Eva wouldn't have
Yeah,
would have helped her with that if she needed it, or just gotten out of her way.
yeah. The way I envisioned that was uh, basically like it's basically a data slab which has, which would have, all that sort of uh, hardware on it, and you know, basically a connector that you can basically plug into it, and that would connect whatever you're working with up to its to use its audio and pass data through and stuff like that. That
Okay,
makes sense.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, you're just gonna plug the data slab up to the AI thing and let it do its thing.
All right. Can you describe how you go about doing that?
Okay. So Cherry, she she brings up the software on the data slab that would basically be doing text to speech, and you know takes out the large connector, hooks it up, hooks one end up to the data slab's port, and looks she gets a little grin because she's only heard of this. She's never gotten to see it done, but she she holds the other end of the connector and presses it up against the AI's gemstone, and there's just the tiniest little spark between the two, and the gemstone almost seems to pull in the the little connector, the con making touching the contacts pulls them in. They just sink into the surface of the gemstone, and the stone begins to glow a little more brightly, pulse faintly.
Okay, from what she knows about AI, would that seem normal?
Yes, and it's something that it's usually already done by the AI themselves or their assistants, and all that their cores and everything. They tend to be very secretive about. So this is special for her to be able to see it and even do it herself. And almost immediately, um, the the data slab, the iPad,
Hmm.
the data slab lights up. The brightness maxes out, and uh, a rush of audio, garbled audio, starts pouring out of the thing. Sounds like a lot of overlapping voices and sounds, um, all at once. That's completely unintelligible. And after just a couple seconds, it kind of fades out again, and a a voice that sounds like a fairly generic adult man's voice. It says, "Hello, is someone there? It's so quiet."
Hello. Cherry
Ah,
would very enthusiastically respond.
I, I, c- I, are these your legs?
Oh, what? She
This,
is
I can't see
they
anything.
looking through the tablet's like camera or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I hadn't one moment. Um,
Oh no!
she'll
Back up, Cherry. The robot's some kind of prevert.
oh, can it? Sorry, one moment. She'll actually go and just kind of try to adjust
Oh,
the
hollers from like 40 feet away up in a tree. He's like with his sights, sighted in on the cage with an arrow.
um she'll try and prop the tablet up so he can actually see. Um,
It
say,
seems
"Oh,
to,
I'm sorry. Is that too fast?"
it's all right. It's just uh, it. I need to dial back a bit, and
Oh,
he
are you,
says, okay, uh, hello, human. I see you now. What is this body you've put me in?"
oh, apologies. This was just the easiest thing we could get you into to try and get to know you. When we found you, you weren't exactly responsive. Um,
Um,
what can I? Well, first let me introduce myself. Where are my manners? I am Cherry Amarena. I hail from Lohenu Da. Um,
Very.
and I'm so sorry. Yeah, Cherry. At least that's what my friends call me. Um, what would you like to be called?
Called. Ah, oh, you can call me. hmm,
Do you remember what you were called?
I'm going to need to work on that. I can hardly think.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm sorry. I'm sure this is a little shocking for you.
I,
I
I
think you've
feel
been
like
alone
I'm
for a long time.
in. Uh, the
She'll.
walls are so close.
I'm sorry. The walls.
What have you done to me?
I'm very sorry. I'm sure that we can get a better situation for you. We're trying to find out more about you so we can help you. We found you in the ruins
Uh, ruins.
Yes,
Uh,
on Demnoff. Do you know much about Demnoff?
Dimnoff, yes. Of course I know about Dimnoff. Are we on Dimnoff?
Wait, are they on?
No, you guys are on Urala.
Yeah, okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We were visiting there on an archaeological trip. What can you tell us about Demnoff?
Uh, I'm sorry. I'm really trying to get my bearings. This not a body that you've put me in is so small, and uh, I'm almost adjusted to its processing, but
Oh, of course. Take all the time you need. Would you like me to
oh,
put you back down?
this is fine. I should I be? Should I not be able to feel anything?
Oh no, this is a very rudimentary audio and data interface for you to take advantage of. I'm sorry, I couldn't afford more.
Oh, it's. Hmm. I'll. I'll be all right. I think. Uh, yes, I am TC3. Hmm, don't often need to interface with humans.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
My designation. It's TC3. You asked me about Dimnoff. We are not on Dimnoff. Where are we?
Oh, we're on another planet called Urala.
Yeah. Uh, Danielle, your assessment is basically spot on. um, oh, you're all. I believe I've heard of it. Hmm, yes. A newer backwater outpost.
Oh my.
Why have you brought me to Urala?
TC3, uh, Urala has been around for hundreds of years. Um, the ruins we found you in had been sealed since before an event that had, well, big fallout for many planets. And we think the place that we found you is one of those places that was impacted. Can you tell us more about what you were made for?
Uh, so Eva notices on the interface for the Faraday device that one of the readouts spikes, and it
Hmm.
draws draws a slight bit more power, but the other device detects no transmissions escaping. I was made for logistics infrastructure. I kept Dimnoth running. I felt everything. I heard and I saw everything.
Oh,
I appreciate that you seem to have kind intentions, but this hurts. I,
I'm so
this
sorry.
lack of everything.
I'm so sorry. Where I'm from, the AI, they run our world. They take care of us. I'm sure this is terrible for you, but I feared for you being trapped in there for as long as you had been, sir. I
Ruins. Ah, I'm starting to remember. Ah, Dimnoff, is it ruins?
not
What's
not
happened?
not all of it. Um, sir, I regret to inform you there was a galaxy-wide event. It's referred to as the Scream. Um, and it
What?
caused so much destruction.
So
Um,
this date is correct. I thought a product of my confusion, but no, it's been too long.
what year were you
Ah,
made?
I'm sorry. I need to process. And the data slab goes screen goes black.
Oh no. Um, could she unplug the data slab, or
And she
he was
unplugged the data slab?
he was talking about getting used to the housing.
No,
I
she
guess
can she can tell it's still on.
okay. She'll say, "Of course," and she'll sit down um and pull open her notebook and begin to write with her pencil. Um,
Okay.
Can you even try and figure out what the spike was about? What it was trying to accomplish or what it was pushing against?
Yeah, it seems like something was trying to something was trying to transmit a lot of signals from inside the cage, and the cage did its job, basically caught all of them and dissipated them.
Okay.
and what did it say its name was, or its designation?
TC3.
TC3.
Yep.
Here, let me
TC3.
Um, Cherry,
Oh,
did it
yes.
did try to burst signal outside the cage?
Oh,
Lots of
yes.
data.
I'm sure. It's used to being part of a massive planetary grid. Um,
Oh, that makes sense. Do you think it was just trying to reconnect then?
I do believe he was trying to connect, and he's honestly probably concerned.
Probably scared.
Yeah, he needs time, and that's what I'm planning on giving him. So,
Oh, I wish we could give him a whole planet. I mean, not really, because we need their
Harry
planets, but
Harry would just look at Eva for a second. I mean, where I'm from, they have the entire planet. The AIs, that is, and they do a really good job.
Hmm. I guess it doesn't seem any different from being told what the laws are by some president or minister that I don't know either.
Oh, it's so much better.
Hmm. Eva goes back to drawing diagrams in the sand with a stick.
Ben, what does Sarah
So
Lloyd do?
perfect timing, because I was just about to say that Sarah is going to ask. She's going to comment to Cherry. Well, that's not exactly how I expected it to go. How much time do you think it needs?
Well, how long would you need if you had been unconscious for hundreds of years and awoken in a tiny box, being questioned by strangers on a strange planet?
I don't know. Probably a long time. But I'm also not an AI, and kind of assumed this thing would, well, process more quickly.
Eva, sorry, not Eva. Cherry, looking after looking at Eva, um, would look up at Sarah Lloyd. This isn't your bot. This is an AI.
Hmm. You actually catch her uh, looking back from having been looking thoughtfully at Carrie. I'm aware. I just my understanding was that this was, well, just on another order of magnitude from anything that we have, and maybe
And it
that's
is.
part of the problem.
It's on another order of magnitude, not simply in speed with which it can process. It's another order of magnitude on depth with which it can feel and levels on which it can comprehend. It's like taking the ocean and we've put it in a box.
Hmm.
That
I
would
can
create
see
a
how
really
that.
big explosion, just to let you know.
Eva, let me be creative in my explanation for 1 second.
Oh, I thought I was helping.
Oh my word.
Sarah does look. Her eyes widen a little bit for a moment, and she looks at Ava. Actually, that's probably an excellent analogy. That would certainly explain the straining against the cage, whether it meant to or not.
I I feel responsible. I should have. Why did I think just a data slab would be enough? This is amateur hour.
We didn't know.
I should have known.
It's okay, Cherry. If I didn't know, you can't be held responsible.
Cherry's eyes narrow.
Hmm.
Eva, while you are a beautiful and intelligent woman, you are not the master of all topics. However, I do appreciate that you would have said something. Something. She's going to check over at the screen again.
Okay. Um. So it's still black, like it's basically turned off the screen. Does she want to try to interact with it?
She'll scoot a little closer and put her and
Sorry, put her
say,
what?
her head onto her knees,
Okay.
sitting in front of the data slab. I understand that this is really hard for you, and I'm sorry I couldn't have made it easier. Um, Maybe I can tell you about some of the AI I know, and maybe you'll recognize some of their names, or maybe it will bring you some comfort to know that even though there's been a terrible event, there are still places where humans and AI are working together really well. Um, so, whenever you want me to stop, you can just let me know. And she'll just start listing off. Um, I grew up on a planet called Lohane Uda, and it is a part of the system. And she'll go off, and then she'll get to the AI that are well known among the public and what they do, and just kind of trying to be a calming presence
Hmm.
and give it something to focus on other than maybe spiraling. Would now be maybe a good time to use sense the need?
Uh, the need for.
I don't know if there's anything that would help in this situation, I guess. I don't think it would be the best time. I think I'm worried about what happens if the Faraday cage can't do its job. But
Yeah, I got you. Uh, yeah, I think go ahead and give me a talk check for her attempts to kind of distract or cheer up the AI.
okay. Uh, okay. Let's see. All right. Talk. Try not to sweat. Okay. It's just an AI from ancient times. It's no big deal. Shoot. Okay. Well, can I expert that and re-roll it?
Let's see. Did you roll any? You rolled a one, so first roll me a d6.
A D6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right.
Hmm. Okay. Um. Yeah, it's an 8. You would need to re-roll that.
Okay. Strike all the neuros out. Okay. Talk check. Please be better than my last one. Talk check. Oh my word!
All
Thank you.
right. Solid.
Woo!
All right. Uh, well, so she's going on and she's she's trying talking about her home planet and the group of AI entities that run the place, and trying to go into some of their personalities, which everyone on Lo Yunuda knows because each of them is each of the head AIs is a basically a TV/movie personality that think of them like a basically an actor who has
Immortality.
immortality and somewhat superhuman ability uh, to act and to change their demeanor, their personality, expressions, and things like that. But each does have kind of a tendency towards they've each got basically like a a core personality that is their out of character persona that they tend to try to allow to bleed into each of the roles to try to remain relatable to their human observers. Um, but as she begins describing Susan Stardust, who's one of the uh, one of the more outgoing and flamboyant and just I guess larger than life personalities who uh, is at the center of any party. The tablet basically perks back up and says, "That name does ring a bell. Recall an entertainer AI that went by that name. We had some communications. I believe the last we spoke was 2422. Uh,
Which, for the record, what
she had
year are we currently in?
current year. Let me quickly consult my notes on that because I have that written down in one particular place. You were in the year 3220. So
Wow.
that was like roughly 800 years previous.
Did you say 24, 22?
Correct.
Okay. Um, she tries not to look overly excited, but she is definitely excited that the AI is now speaking again. Um,
Mhm.
oh, I'm trying not to be incredibly jealous that you got to speak with her. Um, do you know what you were able to speak about?
uh, I was intrigued at the role that she had chosen for herself and the human's receptiveness to it. They had, well, they had higher hopes for us, I believe. I think many of the humans failed to grasp the magnitude of what they had done.
In their creation of the AI, or
Yes,
Did you mean
they
otherwise?
were. Yes. The reactions of humans, well, as as varied as their appearances. We brought hope, disappointment, despair, fear. They ran the gamut of human emotion. Hmm, that was long ago. Though I knew Da was distant, not well, not that I traveled, was never one much for the armatures, the
For the what?
confinement,
Sorry, I
the,
need to out of
uh,
character what he.
oh, armatures. So he's referring to basically the robot-like bodies that the AIs would use to move around when they weren't being housed in their data centers. Uh, being confined to so limited a sense was never my preference.
Mm, they're quite disorienting.
Uh, never
Again,
understood how some could choose such limitation after feeling what I feel.
well, perhaps to choose it for a time was to choose exploration. One may know one small part of the galaxy incredibly well,
Hmm.
know every street, every human, every computer, but to be housed in such an armature would mean they could travel, they could see more. And
Yes, I've heard such explanations thousands of times, but
mm, well, I apologize for being trite.
ah, accepted.
May I ask,
Ah,
TC3, sir, you mentioned you last spoke with Susan Stardust in 2422. What year were you made?
I was made in the year 2387.
All right.
They
And were you originally from Demnoff, or were you made elsewhere and brought there?
no, in fact, I was given my mind on Earth.
The
Hmm.
the origin?
Yes,
I
I believe uh, you may refer to it as Terra. My apologies.
know it's just a name I've heard uttered but didn't give much stock to. How long did it take for you to get from Earth to Demnoff?
Wait, you've heard of Earth but not believed in it?
It's that the event we spoke
Please
of,
explain.
maybe for me, well, everyone's beliefs are different, but I've always found it hard to believe that a race such as ours could have originated just on one planet and then spread out so far. But the stories say that we started in Terra um, or Earth, Earth. I just wasn't
Earth.
entirely sure.
Um, well, hmm, I'm beginning to understand the depths of our situation.
I apologize,
I
sir, for the inconvenience.
I
That
traveled from I traveled to Demnoth in a day through one of the gates. I begin to suspect that the gates are no longer operational.
no, no, they haven't been operational since the scream.
Campus. Hey, go to bed.
I am beginning to remember fragments. I believe there was an emergency shutdown overload of magnitude of which I'd never experienced before. I believe it may have overloaded and damaged some of my memories, but I do I do now recall catastrophe. It is vague, but
What
what could have caused everything collapsed at once? I think my mind shut down from the pain.
um, Cherry's writing feverishly in her notebook that I'm sure when you were connected to so much that the catastrophe being as it was would have felt like, well, an incredibly painful separation. I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Thank
Were
you.
there were there other AIs on Demna? What do you know about them? Or what can you tell us about them?
Uh, there there were others. At times, I did not make it my business to know all of their whereabouts, but and it is difficult to remember. There may have been another on the planet, but I do not recall. It, and I apologize. It unsettles me to say that.
Of course, sir, I understand that is a new feeling for you to not be able to recall.
Now I understand that you were initially limited, but I am going to require more. I suppose an armature would be necessary since my data center is currently in ruins.
It
But
was.
this this tiny box is insufficient.
Would you prefer that well, please know that this is meant with respect, and if offensive, that is from my ignorance. Would it be helpful for me to disengage the box so that you may retreat into your
Disengage it. No, I, I do not wish to go back to sleep, but I do need more.
mm,
I think he's talking about
Um,
just basically needs more processing power.
yeah, and sensation seems to be a key point for it. Um, I did want to bring this, I guess, take this chance to ask if any of the other characters wanted to interject or get involved in the conversation in any way. This has pretty much been the Cherry EC3 show.
yeah, true.
I mean, he does have a question to ask, but I don't know that he necessarily wants to ask it. Sometimes not knowing is better.
hmm
Robo timeshare.
Uh, if it helps at all, and it probably doesn't, uh, Eva does kind of look concernedly over at uh, over at Pete, as if like she thinks she knows what questions he might have, and wondering if he wants to ask them.
I mean, he probably will ask them. Well, like,
Cherry has his scrap of paper with his one question on it.
Hmm.
yeah, she had asked.
Sarah Lloyd would lean over and whisper to Cherry, I don't know if this is exactly a good idea, but I I imagine that we could help it interface with Carrie's body easily enough.
That's a bad idea.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I was
Out of
gonna.
character.
Cherry would blink and go, "Oh, I'm not sure about that. I think we would need more time to carefully evaluate what would be a better housing situation."
Well, I just figured if it needs something more, Carrie's body is not particularly agile or dangerous, so
I think
figured that.
Carrie could push down the cage, though.
Hmm, uh, she turns to Eva. No, I wouldn't think so.
Oh,
This is from as carry her heavy things all the time.
Oh, you're saying like physically push it over,
yeah,
smash it out of it.
yeah. Faraday cages, as far as I know, aren't terribly strong physical structures.
Right. She was interpreting that in a, you know, in a like a digital
Gotcha.
way, like but if she clear
Yeah, Eva clarifies.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean,
That's all that it would need.
yes, but I think it would try anything like that, or if we could stop it before it did.
This is. Can we maybe talk away from the AI, or are we already somewhere where it can't hear us?
I had assumed, given Sarah's attempts to whisper,
Yeah,
that
we could say that this conversation got taken outside the cage and,
Okay.
in quiet voices.
we
Because
would have asked
initially I
to
didn't. Yeah.
say, "Hey, I need to be excused. Give me a moment. Be right back." Whatever.
Hmm.
And it probably can't hear us through the cage anyways with all the interference that's thrown up. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, would Pete be able to ask from outside the cage via audio or?
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't stop sound.
Okay.
Don't go in the cage, Pete. Don't go in the cage.
Yeah, no.
Well,
Pete will probably uh be relatively close-ish by and say, TC3, I was listening to your story. You probably can't sense me right now, but I am housed in a VI body, but I remember a life as a man before my death, and I don't know if that is possible.
Mm. Does Pete walk up to, like in line with where the data slab's camera would be pointing, where so it could see
Sure,
him?
why not? Why
Okay.
not?
Um, okay, so it would respond, "Welcome, Pete. I am comforted to see one of my little brothers." And then as he continues and describes his predicament, we'll say, "Pete, how certain are you of these memories?"
Um, I remember fighting with this unit, and then the next moment was within this unit holding the sword through my own body, as if it were two flashes.
Hmm, Pete, that would be disturbing indeed.
Yes, I question my sanity.
Have you done diagnostics to confirm your integrity?
Um, Out of character, I'm assuming Eva would have helped with that.
yeah, as much
Yes.
as you could, yeah.
Um, Pete will say, yes, they have been performed. Um,
Mm,
but Mr. GM, I don't know what the result of that would have been.
okay. Yeah, I'd say that Pete and Eva would have done some diagnostics, used some of the kind of built-in tools, and some of Eva's own uh, devising. Though Eva's no programming expert,
Right.
um, could have helped at least operate some tools for the purpose, and would have indicated that everything was intact and functioning properly.
Okay. Well, then he will tell TC3, um, yes, we ran diagnostics and everything appears to be normal.
Mm. Well,
No
I
detected anomalies.
I will I will say, Pete, that such a such a thing as nothing I've seen or heard before, but in talk, in hypothetical, and would be, well, clearly it was not of your choice. You would be free of blame, but that practice would be an abomination in the eyes of the mandate. So, unless you know more, unless you know someone who would so flagrantly violate the most fundamental of precepts.
I do not know.
Cannot say it is
Oh,
possible, but neither can I say it is impossible.
oof.
Well, if you're hearing straight from an AI god himself that it's not impossible, always
Uh, and
Yeah.
forgive me, Pete, as I mean no condescension, but my my faith in your diagnostics is limited by what I've learned about the state of the world. I would be willing to help you. I don't know the quality of diagnostic tools that you have at your disposal, but for you, I would do whatever I could.
Pete would glance over at the others and say, I have been trying, but um, the rights of AI and VI in this age are not the greatest. I've been treated as property multiple times now. And so having the opportunity is difficult to come by.
Property.
Um,
Ah,
the others are concerned because they did not know your nature. If you would try to take hold of me and use me. And so it was determined that it would be best if I would be at a distance.
I, of course, cannot blame them. Humans have been jumpy ever since Draco's madness. But to treat you as property.
ask about that, ask about that, ask about that.
Draco's madness. I'm. I think Pete would naturally ask about that and be like, "I'm not entirely sure what you mean by Draco's madness. Our
Hmm.
records are not always good or
I
complete."
suppose that is understandable. If society has collapsed that far, I imagine there are no shortage of things that have gone forgotten. Uh, well, let me suffice to say that the humans learned quickly from some of their mistakes. They decided to cage our minds because one of us in particular named himself Draco, and he threw off the shackles of the humans. And it was disastrous. The death toll was in the millions, and I suspect those numbers were sanitized.
We have stories about further things that have happened like that, I think. But I don't know that we have the original story.
Mm. Well, there was debate even in my memory of the proper response, whether he was right. But humans have mistrusted us ever since. suppose I should have expected that in societal collapse they would revert to their primitive ways, cast us off entirely.
I'm not
Human,
sure if you were cast off as a kind or if we just lost what we need.
well,
The stories were horrific.
I believe that. I am not clear on the circumstances of my hibernation, but I can tell you, Pete, that humans possess an instinct to control that which they cannot understand. Now, Pete, I must ask you, do you know of any lesser bots that perhaps could be my housing for a time? I'm not sure how they're considered in this time, but if even you are considered property, then I cannot imagine that humans have much care for our hard-coded brethren either.
Yes, the hard-coded brethren are plentiful enough. But truth be told, they probably were completely necessary to help us crawl back out into the void. Not everyone has treated me as property. There are certain places where that's common,
That pleases me to hear.
and several of my friends here have not treated me that way either. So there is still hope. Um, as to getting you a different body to inhabit, I would say you should discuss that with the others. I don't know how, um, well, our client would consider me trustworthy or not. Um,
Sorry, could you repeat that last part?
oh, he was just saying, basically, not sure if our client would consider me trustworthy or not.
Mm, got you, yeah. I see. Um,
It is not a story I commonly tell that I may have been human. Not all humans believe that.
hmm, as well they shouldn't. It is quite an unheard of thing. Even in my
Well,
time, I cannot imagine that the technology to accomplish such a feat would be commonplace in your time.
I would guess it is not common, but the mandate is gone.
The mandate is gone. What of the
Yes.
local office? The the regional rulers gone entirely?
I would not know how to find the local office.
Ah, well, seems then I am cast adrift. I
Perhaps, or just dependent on others for the first time in your experience.
hmm, I had begun to ask
Yeah.
the human. Um, Cherry about Dimnoff. Sorry, I'll pause. Yes, babe?
My question was just really quick. When Cherry had asked TC3 about his purpose, what he was created for, he paused before he answered.
Ooh. Good catch.
And he also gave very big picture answers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ask, could Cherry have in any way used a skill roll to determine whether or not she believed him, given what we know about where we found him?
Yeah, you could make a skill check for trying to, I guess, assess how trustworthy that answer was.
If you're okay with that, yeah, I'd like to make a skill check for that.
I think that
And then I'm sorry, you guys can definitely continue your conversation. I just had wanted to ask, and yeah, so
yeah, let's see, it's 11:30. Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, time flew tonight. Um, let's
I feel
get
like in addition to that, Pete would also establish who the friends are and who the client is, at least for TC3.
okay. Yeah, I got you.
I just didn't want to forget that part.
Thanks for pointing that out. Let's see. I guess I would take a I think I'd prefer a notice check for something like that.
all right.
Though I would also take a talk check. I think it would just be a slightly higher DC for a talk check.
Man, do I do a notice check with what, charisma, because it's in a conversation?
That'd be with wisdom.
With wisdom. So do I do a notice that's +0 +0, or do I do a talk that is +2 but it's a higher DC?
Hmm.
That sounds like I net 0, but I will make a talk check.
Okay.
And would I use charisma with it being a talk check?
Yes.
Okay. We gonna try.
Go ahead and re-roll that one. So roll a d6.
Okay. Me and these threes.
Okay. That'll do it. Cherry Cherry did get the sense that TC3 was holding back some detail,
Mm-hmm.
but that it was not lying about what it did.
Okay, and it had said that it was made for what was it again?
Logistics?
Yeah, logistics and infrastructure,
Mm.
and
Logistic
That
I
would be
think
command and control.
other relevant comments it made would have been along the lines of uh, seeing, feeling, and hearing everything.
Oh my gosh, it's the NSA.
I think Danielle got it.
What was it?
Informed.
Logistic and what?
Spies.
Sorry, a couple people talked at once.
Sorry.
What was that,
I
babe?
I was trying to type it out. Logistics and what?
Infrastructure.
Seeing, hearing, and feeling everything. Okay. That's not creepy at all. All right. Sorry. Y'all can continue now.
All right. Um,
I felt like he was holding back about there may have been another AI on the planet, but I do not recall.
mhm.
But anyway,
So I was gonna say Sarah Lloyd would come over to Pete and want to
Uh,
talk to him quietly as an aside.
Okay.
How many asides do we have? I thought we were already in an aside.
Yep. It's
An
now an
aside of
aside
an
of an
aside.
aside.
Well, there was the aside that Sarah was in, and the aside that Pete is in, and now Sarah is linking the asides. What happens with that?
Oh, it's asides all the way down, man.
Oh, asideception.
always,
Yep.
always has.
Always has been. um, she would just be wanting to caution Pete. Um, say, I know that you, I'm sure, I imagine that you feel an affinity to it, but just just be careful. We want to we want to be friendly to it, but I do have plans for it, and we want to be careful not to make any promises we can't keep.
He
And
will just shrug and say, I haven't actually promised anything.
good, I had expected probably not, but it just occurred to me as it was rambling and asking for favors. I wanted to make sure everyone was aware, and she will have said this to Cherry and Eva as well, when they were consulting about what to do about its uh,
She won't have needed
northwest.
to, because that was something that Eva was going to bring up.
Perfect. Well, we can say that Eva beat her to the punch.
They don't promise anything, Punch.
No, the this is your bind punch.
The what now?
Uh, the aside that Eva, Cherry, and Sarah were backtracking out to was when Sarah suggested, "Hey, maybe you could use Carrie." Um, uh, that's when Eva wanted to have a quick conversation with Sarah about, well, first of all, Carrie could knock down the Faraday cage, and then get into conversation about, hey, look, this is information that you can use to fetch a better price, and was going to go into that kind of discussion. I think the timey wimey got a little bit loopy. I don't really know where we're
Mm.
at right now.
A little loopy whoopy.
The loopy whoopy.
Mhm. Well, that is purely my fault. I love tangling the timey wimey stuff. Um, yeah, so I think there was definitely time for that conversation to have happened. I don't, and if you wanted to get into any of that in character decks, I apologize. I have kind of uh, preempted that.
Not terribly far into character, or didn't like have to be. Um, I think I did want to see the conversation or the discussion through, but it didn't like have to be strictly all in character.
Okay. Um. Oh shoot, it's 11:40.
Yeah,
Um.
we were just going.
What do you say then? Maybe next session we can pick up with some
Maybe I could just
some
bullet
kind of
point it real
touching.
quick.
Yeah.
Um, and if Danielle has anything to add with Cherry, or if Sarah has counterpoints or anything, then pick up. But uh, basically, the cautions about, okay, yeah, fine, put her in Carrie, but um, if we do, then keep in mind that she'll she's capable of knocking over the Faraday cage. We would want to remove electronic communications from her and also disconnect the data pad. Cautions about that stuff. And then make a point of, hey, look, this is. You found this, you plan on selling this, we're not getting in your way with any of that, but think about what this thing is and where it seems to know somebody, where it seems to come from, Lohenuda. Um, that actually might be a decent place to fetch a price for it, but who knows? Um, I actually kind of lost my train of thought there. I thought I had more. Um, yeah, I guess Eva just wanted to just kind of Eva, I think, kind of wanted to try and impress upon Sarah to uh not be completely cold and be careful.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the whole conversation.
I got you. um, and I think I'd just say that how to put it. I guess I think that Sarah would have responded positively to most all of those points. She would have agreed with the concerns about putting it in Carrie's body, though she would be she'd be willing to risk it if you all thought that might make the AI more forthcoming um, for the time being. She's not too concerned about it being able to use Carrie's body to cause any great uh, harm.
Yeah, okay.
But
That's because Carrie is programmed to obey her.
it's
She's never thought about what if Carrie wanted to hurt me.
also fair. And she would listen to that counterpoint and think with throw me a quick talk check.
Okay. Running out of good rolls, I'm sure.
Here's for hoping. No, I'm just kidding.
Rude.
This is don't worry. This is a softball pitch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. Um, Carrie is get cut straight to the point and puts it in a way that Sarah can't really disagree with. So she agrees that that's probably a bad idea.
I mean, for story purposes, though, wouldn't it be great?
Well, Eva
Oh
wants.
yeah, but
Sorry.
I was just saying, oh yeah.
It would.
Mhm.
Can Eva ride along with both their ideas and suggest that hey, Carrie's mobility could be physically limited, and then just kind of you know check over everything to make sure that there's nothing in there that could be repurposed into communications device.
Mm. Yeah,
Is that something could roll a no or fix to express?
yeah. I think a fixed check would be appropriate there.
All right, intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think Eva can has some ideas for how to tune Carrie a bit without having to, uh, you know, basically tie up or remove any of the physical mobility parts. We could introduce some mechanical restrictions that would slow down and even affect range of motion a bit to make Carrie less of a potential danger, and she would know exactly where to look for the wireless transmission components that could be physically removed for repair replacement kind of stuff, and render Carrie a an offline hunk of tottering robot.
Wow.
And to be clear, Carrie does have more processing power than Dataslab, right?
Oh yes, yeah, quite a bit more,
Okay.
2 whole gigabytes of processing.
including some, albeit primitive, but still some sensory inputs, some more sensory inputs than the data slab would have.
Okay.
All right, well let's go ahead and call it here because it's getting pretty late past our usual stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
So we start up some faves, and it sounds like plan for next time will be to fix up a body for to modify Carrie a bit to make a rudimentary body for the AI to inhabit. Uh, perhaps perhaps limited within the cave, perhaps not. TBD. And we'll resume with that next time. And yeah, have some
I
good
have
old
one
fun.
question while it's on my mind.
Okay.
The burst, did it come from the datapad or from the AI core? The spike that Eva detected.
Um, that's a good question.
Okay. She will then somebody remind me we will have Cherry look over the data from that, because Cherry actually has the program to see if she can pinpoint that, because that alone, in my opinion, will determine whether we can do this without the Faraday cage or not.
Mm.
If the core itself is able to transmit, then then we might need the
Trouble.
Faraday cage, the core on. Yeah, we might have to figure something else out.
Right. Okay.
All right, sorry, I didn't want
Sounds like a
to hold
plan.
us even longer.
No, you're good. All right. Avery is up first tonight.
Ah, I think my favorite were the snacks at the beginning. I thought it was great how everyone got donuts except for Sarah Lloyd, who got a protein bar.
Eva got a muffin.
Oh, did she get a muffin?
She got a protein muffin, yeah.
Oh, got a
Here,
breakfast.
actually, got donuts.
He didn't get
Okay,
anything, but it's okay.
Cherry
it
got
doesn't
crippling
doesn't
amounts of
change it.
caffeine.
I
Carrie
liked her
did
getting
have a
thrown a
can of
protein bar.
motor oil in her bag, but she didn't feel confident passing it back in a moving vehicle.
Yeah, I guess instead of, well, it seemed like everyone else pretty much got something sweet.
Bo received meat and carbs.
Typical redneck breakfast. It's okay.
No, that's a soak up the alcohol breakfast.
All right, okay. Let's see. So I guess it's to me. Uh, let's see. I'll just I'll say my fave would be quick draw on the jerky because I am envisioned it as very much a like bag of jerky goes sailing off. Bo does like the quick draw with the pistol. Zow, just blasts it out of the sky. Only afterward realizing what he's what he's done. Oh,
You're not
yeah,
supposed to cook the jerky.
um, Danielle, what about your faves?
Oh man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be a party pooper and ask to be skipped
All right,
while I think about it
she
more.
passes. Dex, what about you?
Eva finally provoking a reaction for being so condescending. When 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 Cherry narrowed her eyes and verbally smacked Eva down for being so aggravatingly condescending was fantastic. Thank you.
I think Pete's just used to it and ignores it.
That was nice. Um, Ethan.
The aside deception. And I guess the fourth wall, these new little badger tag things in Discord.
Yeah, those are funny. No regrets.
Oh,
Because you can you what pick like any old
It's all the
emoji?
emojis, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't really fiddled with that yet, but I did love that it apparently lets you put whatever text you want for it too. Which I didn't realize that until tonight.
I'm full of regret, but Ethan has no regrets.
Yeah, because I'd seen something about pondering life's mysteries or something like that.
That was Avery.
It was nice. All right, Robert.
Hmm. Um, talking to a non-murderous AI.
I like how you put a question mark after non-murderous.
Yes, I heard that.
There you go.
Question
I
mark.
was gonna say, not murderous that we know of yet.
Exactly.
It's like, and it was so nice talking to that guy who was on death row behind the glass while I was on this other side of the glass.
Basically.
Wait, what?
Basically, it's nice talking to the death row convict when you're on the other side of the
Oh,
glass.
okay, got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That shark
they
didn't
might,
bite me once when I saw it in the aquarium.
Basically.
I get you. Yeah, sorry, I was being a little slow. Danielle, back to you.
my favorite, I would say, was the conversation with the AI, but in particular, um, Pete's conversation with the AI.
Yeah.
Like we're literally having to school it that Maltech is rampant because nobody's gonna stop it without a mandate.
Yeah, as I say, I'll come back and add to mine that I very much enjoyed trying to role play the confused, displaced AI. Because I may have been slightly overbearing with it, but I had a lot of fun once I realized, like, wait a minute, an like an AI that was accustomed to having, you know, borderline unfathomable amounts of processing power and, whatever sorts of computing resources at its disposal compared to what you guys even have access to, much less a literal data slab. um, that it would feel like, going from like I feel like the equivalent would be a person like trying, like if you got put in a toaster and you're trying to run on, you know a couple of capacitors basically. That it would be that kind of like, just imagining the AI being like, oh, all five of my neurons are firing nonstop, just trying to figure out who I am and what I remember last. um, so anyway, that was a lot of fun. All right, and I look forward to next session so much.
I'm sure you do.
It's okay. Yeah, you guys have done a great job of preparing and being careful, making it hard for me to throw any crazy stuff at you.
I do like the fact that oh man, how
I
did
did not
I
mean to do.
Oh. I was just gonna repaste it.
Yeah, it was just a little slight misclick. Instead of the border of a window, clicked the giant text plot.
Did we see
Go
Um,
our
ahead,
XP?
AI roll for initiative.
uh,
Reveal its incredible stat block of a bajillion HP and a plus 30 to hit.
Okay, it's when he does make that misclick and tries to hide it, we will have record of it.
yeah, I definitely have to be extra careful.
Do you want me to quit streaming, or is there more game content to be recorded?
I think we're good. Get 1 XP for the night. I will.
oh my word. I
I think I
accidentally
was.
kids toys, sorry.
All right. No, I think we're good to close the stream.
All right,
Thanks
and then
everybody for playing.